Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
To the Larry Yates show. Guess what? This is he, this is I, this is me in the flesh. I am actually sitting here. Hey guys, I feel real good today. We're going to have some fun today. And with all of the good stuff that's going on in the world that is being shoveled and covered up and bundled up and just stuffed down the pipelines, and all of the rot of humanity just seem to be just bubbling to the top. Well, we're going to have some little fun today. It's going to do a little holiday stuff. We got the Christmas coming in. We just got off for Thanksgiving. Just before we get started, though, I have to always send out my prayers and stuff to the families that lost their loved ones during this last San Bernardino shooting, and just globally, just a man's inhumanity to man globally. And I just feel so sad about all of the hurt and pain that people are going through. And, and I myself, I can't use that terrible word that I'm tired of it, because it seems like I'm not having the compassion, but I do have the passion. And this recent thing with Mr. Donald Trump, and I'm saying this here on the Larry Yates show. When we was kids, we had this R&B group and this funk song called BT Express. And it was basically about Soul Train and black trains and all of this, and just get on board and all of that. But now we have what I call the DT Express, the Donald Trump Express. It's running off his rail. It's out of control. And who is his passengers? A bunch of rednecks and racists that they can no longer hide from. And guess what? They are here. And so what we want to do is just get past that, and wanted to say, and how I feel about the what's going on in the world, and all so much pain and suffering. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move into a really, really kind of fun kind of show today. And we have Carolyn has joined us, and she's been working very hard and helping us get this show together. Thank you so much, Carolyn. And get that mic together. You're looking awfully pretty today.
Why, thank you. I'm in a festive mood today.
I see. Festive. Yeah. See, I'm getting my language together. I do the sign language and all of that. Now I'm going to do the Hebrew. Now I'm getting my, was that French? I'm just kidding. I'm a little, you know what? I'm a little silly today, because the young lady that's a guest here today kind of shift the energy here, cheered me up. I'm feeling good. And Carolyn, why don't you, first of all, tell us a little bit about what you were doing today? And I think that's.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here at the Larry Yates' show.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're going toward the end of 2015, and I am involved in an Interfaith Alliance. In fact, I'm the chairperson and president of our local Interfaith Alliance. And we had a meeting today, and I think it couldn't have been a better time. We meet monthly. But with all of the rhetoric that's going on about Muslim and extremists and the challenges that this country is facing with statements from political candidates that are encouraging a separation, really, of people, of religions. And, the fear that comes into people is not just the fact that they're talking about one particular group, but that once you start choosing one group to identify and separate.
What is the Interfaith Alliance about?
The Interfaith Alliance is about bringing people of different religious organizations and faiths.
Did that have to do with the program that you worked on with Oprah, which I think that was a wonderful program. What was that called?
That was called Belief.
Belief.
Actually,
is this kind of a spinoff or some connection
no,
there?
it's been operating for the last 15 years or so. There are interfaith alliances all over the country. Ours in Culver City actually was set up by the city. The city asked people to come together, and we started from that standpoint. I've been involved for about 5 years now, and it's a wonderful organization.
Well, you're involved in so many things.
Yes, I am.
I don't even try to keep up that car. But anyway,
But the reason I mention it is because they actually had a program at the Islamic Center in Culver City last night discussing the challenges and the public impression of Muslims and the Islamic faith now.
What is the mood of the Muslims in that particular temple last night? What's the mood there?
There was some concern about, there were many different views because some were angry, some, I did not attend that program, but I was given information about it, that there were many points of view set up. The Islamic Center wants to make sure people know that it's an interfaith environment, and they want to proceed from that standpoint.
Well, when I look at it, when you were coming in, I was just saying, we grew up with this soul music, and one of my favorite was BT Express. Mm-hmm. And just dawned on me that I got a new one now. We got the DT Express, the Donald Trump Express.
Oh.
It's a train that's out of control, and with all these passengers, rednecks and racists are all cheering over the train that's out of control. I don't know how they're going to stop it, but he's just feeding all of this.
Well,
this foolishness.
I'm actually grateful
because they can't hide it.
Well, he's actually helping, because I'm an interfaith minister and involved in this work all the time. I really believe there's always good that comes from even the worst situations. And what is coming up from this is the need for us to actually have conversation about what we believe, who we are, and to see how we can get along. Mm-hmm. And I think this is calling people of other faiths to say, no, this is not correct. You cannot paint the entire Muslim community, which is worldwide, and millions of people trying to control that is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. This man is about to piss off 1.2 billion people.
Yes.
And they're not all poor and broke people. Many of them own businesses, and many of them hold part of the American debt. Let's not forget that. But what I like about what's happening, although there's the sadness in it, is just like, when you get boils on your skin, mm-hmm. and that means that there's toxins in the body.
Yes.
And as long as the toxins is in the body, you can put cream and makeup over it, then it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to fix the problem. But as the boil starts to rise up and it bursts, and then you see the poison and the sickness, then you must take care of it.
Yes.
And that's what Donald Trump is doing. He's pushing this poison to the top.
I've heard
where
him
people
call,
cannot.
I'm sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, but this is too juicy.
Well, go ahead.
He's a boil on the butt of America.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Right. I just didn't want you to...
For those of you who are Trump aficionados, please pardon us.
Pardon her, not me. I'm sticking to my gun. He's a boil on the butt, but we need him. We need him so we can show that we are full of toxins, yes. And it can't be swept under the rug anymore. But now, talking about toxins in the body, and how Donald Trump and that right wing is feeding a nation so much garbage and so much poison. Now we have a young lady in the house that's talking about feeding us this healthy thoughts and healthy energies and healthy food. You want to introduce?
I would. I am, in fact, it's so interesting you mentioned belief, because it is at one of the screenings of the Belief series, which was a project by Oprah Winfrey, a wonderful program that was a docuseries in October. But it was one of the screenings where I met this phenomenal, vivacious young lady who was actually the chef for the evening. And she provided the food. And there's something about her that was infectious, and we met and we gravitated to each other, and we've been in communication since. And Chef Anina is a lovely presence and has come. In fact, we started talking about food from Italy and France and other places in Europe. And so it is with that background of the food that supports us, that nurtures us, that I thought this would be a wonderful guest to have during the holidays. Because during the holidays, we really food becomes the binding factor to so many of the festivities. So I'd like to welcome Chef Anina to our show.
Yeah! welcome, young lady. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Very honored to be here and to speak about food and the love of food that I have, and yes, to sharing the food in the moments of the holidays. There's a lot to be said on home cooked meals and family, and sometimes we forget that they're much, much healthier. You know, we have to really, we are what we eat. So in a healthy body lives a healthy mind. So again, we really have to work at just cooking at home.
Well, you know,
food.
I tell you something. So you might have to help push back on me on this. Donald Trump eat very healthy, and he's a complete asshole. I mean, I'm just kidding. Look.
Personally, I don't think he eats that
I
healthy. His
I
brain doesn't work too well.
Yes.
But again, as Reverend Caroline said, I'm thankful because he's just bringing out all this terror, this. How would you call it? It's like that foam. You see, I'm a chef. I cook. So when I cook beans or garbanzo beans, the first water they'll pull up this white icky foam, and you got to throw that foam away if you don't want to get gas in your belly. Yes. So that's what Donald Trump is for me. But excuse me, that's my personal point of view. Please forgive me for those who love him. I respect you, but I must state thank God in America, and we can say what we want.
No, just let me be the whipping boy on this one, and because really, because you're out and you're using food as a healing tool, family tool, a hug, or a kiss, or a unity. So you're using food for all of the right things out here. So how did you get here?
Food, I started cooking when I was 4 years old. From a terrible tragedy, my mother she was very ill, and my grandmother put me on a stool, and there I started. And there this incredible adventure with food. And I would see that I would cook.
And you were in Italy?
I was in Italy at the time, yes.
Tuscan.
Oh, Italy,
Tuscany,
food, Italy, oh my goodness, food, wine.
My mom was Italian and my dad was American, so I had both cultures very embedded in me. And the food side is Italian, absolutely, yes. Then I do fusion, but now, my whole new thing it's actually, I'm a food inventor because, again, we don't have all the ingredients for everything all the time. So we say, we'll go get something out. Sometimes what you don't have, but you put all your love in it, love is the main ingredient for good food.
Wait a minute. Love is the main ingredient for good food?
Absolutely.
Yes,
you go, girl.
And when you cook and you eat together, you sit together, you converse, again, it's a moment of connecting, and it's a moment. It's a love channel, food and togetherness, and that's what we need. And my project is, I have 15 million children to feed in this country, so I'm going to be knocking at about a lot of doors.
Yes.
Because this cannot be that in this country we got kids going hungry. Enough. So altogether, food is love. Without food, there is no love. There is no life. Okay, that's what.
No question about it. And let me ask you a question, because when during the holidays, and like this is the Jewish holiday Hanukkah.
Yes.
And then we just got off Thanksgiving and Christmas. Tell me, why do you think food is so important during these particular holidays? Not that it's not important to all holidays. I get that.
But it like in all cultures, okay, the Hanukkah and Christmas and all over the world, there's once a year, it's like the feast of the winter. Mm-hmm. It's a moment that you gather. It's a moment that you prepare together. In the Jewish holidays, like in the Italian holidays, women gather and will make matzo ball soups or tortellini for hours, for a feast of 30, 40 people to come and gather. And thank God for the food of the year. That's how it all started, this celebration of the winter solstice. Then it went into different religions and different things, but it is a celebration of life. It is a celebration of the winter, of reserving, of pulling. After this feast, there is a pulling back, eating lighter, because that food wouldn't last all till March, April, till Mother Nature would give you back the food that you needed. So it was like the beginning of a fast.
And so you look at food as so important in bringing families and communities together.
Yes.
Am I hearing you correctly?
Absolutely. I think that's why I'm a celebrity chef. I've worked for very, very important people. Right now, I'm so proud to say that I'm going to be Wanda Electric Lady Wilson personal chef for the Grammy Awards. She is a Rasta lady, fantastic, from Hawaii, Bob Marley's niece. She's doing a lot of stuff for the children and to feed the world. And again, I was blessed to cook for Tony Haynes. He's another, for me, he's the biggest, the most fantastic poet of the moment. He's written over 10,000 poems. He's got 6 novels out, 14 TV shows finished writing. He's genius. But again, I met him, he was sick, and I healed him. Not healed him, but I helped him through diabetes. A lot of my clients are sick, and why? Because of a food condition in the past. So again, that's where I started studying how important really to eat well, to tell our children what to eat and what not to eat, to eliminate the 4 deadly whites: white sugar, white table salt, white bleached, excuse my English, flour, and white milk, conventional regular milk. These are not products that they're good for us anyways, but I tend on saying that often.
Let me ask you a question now. When I look at in the school systems and it always starts in the home. That's just simple fact. Whether a person is poor or not, it still starts in the home. And it's more of a question. Do you believe that the not eating healthy has affected the attitudes or the behavior of some of the young people?
Absolutely.
And so, that instead of getting them a healthy dish when they see healthy foods, when they see signs of these behaviors, they want to do medication. Does that make any sense? Would you speak on that?
I would love to speak on that. Again, my mother was Italian. We come from the Etruscans. The Etruscans were a civilization that lived 2,700 years ago, okay? And I'm saying so ancient to connect to this because I've learned and I've studied them deeply. Now, it's all about what you eat, how it's cooked, what it's cooked with. They knew this 2,700 years ago, okay? Absolutely. We really must be careful of what we eat, what we give to our children. The fake foods or foods that are really not for human consumption. All the artificial. You have to eat things that come out of the ground, come out of the soil, come out of Mama Earth gives us everything, and it is so important. The Latins 2,000 years ago would say mente sana in corpore sano. And Latin means healthy mind in a healthy body. You cannot have a healthy brain that works right if you have an intoxicated body. So your body, you need what you put in is like the gasoline that you would put in your car. Now, if you own a Rolls Royce, you wouldn't put the cheapest gas in it, would you? So why do you do it with your body?
Yeah, good,
Yes.
great point.
You know,
And-
again.
Yes. And I want to add to this. I heard you hint something about poor. And somehow healthy eating and our economic class have gotten mixed up these days.
Very much so.
Because when I grew up, we actually ate better, I believe. We were poor, but my mother knew how to manage the food.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yes.
wasn't as much meat.
Yeah.
There was more beans and vegetables, and the food was cooked slowly.
Absolutely.
We didn't eat huge meals. Everybody didn't. You know, it's funny now because we were a family of 5 people. You got 1 chicken. Everybody had to divide 1 chicken. And now, when I go places, people wouldn't think of having just 1 chicken for, everybody's got to have at least 2 pieces. We had 1 piece and we were happy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that happened in Tuscany too. It would
Yes.
be 1 chicken for 10.
Yes.
So, and twice a week, maybe you would have meat.
Yes.
It wasn't always that.
It wasn't always.
Most of the time it was just the flavor of
The
meat,
flavor,
right?
yes.
So exactly.
And
that's
they may not have put the chicken in. I mean, they may not have used the chicken for that meal only.
Exactly.
So
they would
they
do
mix it
3
for others.
meals.
Yes, 3
They would do
meals.
the broth.
Yes.
You would eat the meat, some of it, and some of it you would add potatoes and do little meatballs that would serve for the 3rd serving. Oh, yes. And that is when I say the food inventor. La cucina povera, the poor cooking. It's not poor anymore because truffles are extremely expensive. But we used to find them in the hills. If you come to me with me in Tuscany, we'll go find them so they're free.
Yes.
Truffles, porcini mushrooms. So the poor cooking teaches you really to make the best out of what you
Well,
get
I
by
think-
Mother
Go
Nature.
to the
I
land,
think
yes.
the problem
It's like a
is
soul food. It's even more than that. It's like from nothing you make a lot.
Yes.
I think that one of the challenges is you're talking about access now, and some communities just don't have the access readily as others, and I'm not drawing those lines by racial barriers. It's just location.
More than
is
racial,
location.
excuse
I
me,
don't.
because-
I don't accept that.
I don't accept
What?
that, and I think it's more than racial. It's economical. So you go in the poor hoods, and there's all you can find is liquor stores, and all you can find in the liquor stores.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So absolutely.
Well,
I hope that
I'm just adding this.
Yes.
Being just on this other side right now. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. As many buildings as any place more buildings than you'll ever see in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's much more dense in population. When the parent is committed to feeding the child
Yes.
properly, they will walk. We took buses, we walked to go get our food. We didn't have a car. It did not matter. If it wasn't there, she go find it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, so
I'm saying it's not convenient. What you have said is correct, is that in many communities, the local supermarkets don't necessarily have the food that is supportive, and they have many more fast food restaurants
Yes.
in those areas. Totally agree with that. But at the same time, when you say, I'm not going to feed my child this, I'm not going to eat this stuff, it may be inconvenient, but you'll go out the way to do it.
No, I can't push back on that at all. I wish I could. That makes a lot of sense because that's basically what it is a motivation to get up and make sure that you
And
do
it's
that.
love. It also shows
It's love,
you,
yes.
it's love. That's
Yes.
what
This
you know.
word
you
love
will
keep
remember.
popping up here.
Yes, because now I'll ask you a question. For example, do you remember what your grandmother gave you for your 7th birthday or Christmas? The physical present. You probably don't, but you probably will remember if you ever did pancakes with her, or if you ever made cookies with her, or if you ever made
This is
corn-
true. Yeah.
The memory of love, the togetherness. Food is quantum. The smell, the taste, it all connected to the
So
soul.
so getting reaching out to and what you're doing now, and we talked off air. It's about reaching. And it's more of an awareness of young people
Yes.
to start to cook their own food and be aware of the chemicals. Because I tell everybody,
I'd say don't count calories, count the
yeah,
chemicals
you know,
inside.
it's just
read,
like-
read the labels, please, please, everybody.
when I did my children books of Greedy Mouth and Upset Stomach, and Carolyn did the editing to it, and yeah, Greedy Mouth and Upset Stomach on Amazon.com. Greedy Mouth and Upset
Achy
Stomach.
Tooth.
By Larry Yates on Amazon.com. Get it and give them some Christmas gifts out there.
Yes. So important.
But one of the things that we did, my son friend died at 11 years old, and he died of a stroke. Now, and my son was about 13 at the time. Now, I had to, I could tell him how a gun could hurt him. I could tell him how a bicycle with no helmet could hurt him. I could tell him about all of these physical things that could hurt him. But how do you explain to a young kid that food can kill you? And that was one of the challenges that I had. And Carolyn and I had a lot of meetings with people that had no clue of the language because everybody is trying to tell the kids what is the meaning of this word in chemistry that I can't and they can't even pronounce, and thinking the kid is going to understand that. So how do you feel about the language that we're now starting to use? You're starting to use to bring kids and help them to understand.
That's what I say. If you can't even pronounce it, don't eat it. I mean, I'm highly dyslexic. I have problem reading things. Okay, I'm not, and so what I do, bread. It's water, flour, and salt. Then I go look in the back of the ingredients, and I'm like, huh? pH. Why? I can't even pronounce these words. I'm trying to put and it's like. And there's like 50 of them. So I'm like, I better not eat this. I just better go buy some flour and make me some bread. I'm working I'm finishing writing a TV show right now, which hopefully it'll air soon. It's just about that. It's just about how inexpensive it could really be for 2 or for 3 or for 4, a family of 2 or 3 or 4, to live with $300 a month eating healthy meals every day.
But then there lies, especially in American culture, is the discipline of living within your budget.
Yes, exactly. But that doesn't mean you're going to have to eat. You don't have to eat the 99-cent burger, the 90 cents. I don't want to make any names of chain junk food. But so a salad cost me $5 and a hamburger cost me 90 cents. I don't get it. There's a problem. Houston, either I'm really stupid, it just doesn't make sense to me. So
I love that. Salad costs you $9 and a hamburger
it costs you 90 cents. And you're like, why does a bottle of Coca-Cola cost me 90 cents and a bottle of water cost me $2.50? Help! I got a problem here. There's just something's not working. So again,
yeah,
tell the kids, but see, they're aware more than us because they've got the internet. And I see now that I go into a lot of celebrities' homes, they've got children, and they're the first one that come up and say, "Can I help you? Can I do this? What are you doing?" And they're curious. So there is an awakening call. There is a wake-up call for all of us. We got to heal, and we got to do it through
I
food.
think, in fact, I think the kitchen is the first lab any science scientists experience, and I think all of us wanted to be around the kitchen.
Yes, it's
boys
fun.
or girls, and coming up. I mean, the schools here. How long have you been in America?
Oh, I went to school here, so I went.
Yeah, because they used to have what they call the
home ec. That was my favorite. Home ec.
Yes. So the schools had home ed and teaching young people about the.
Well, and it used to be only for the girls, but some of the more advanced schools many years ago started switching, and they would allow the girls to go to
some of the trade.
Trade schools.
I did that too, with the engines.
Yes,
with the engine to high school.
So I remember making a bookshelf.
Yes.
By doing that, and then the boys went and started learning how to make salads and meatloaf.
Yeah, because the first
I don't know if they do it as much anymore.
I guess it varies state by state, county by county, city by city.
We did it in Riverside. I was in Riverside. I went to Poly High School in Riverside, and we did it, and we did there. Yeah, we had this exchange because they wanted to. Thank God that it was, because or else it would have been all girls and all boys.
Right.
And no, we still have to do a lot of work to do there, us women, to get together and really. That's another conversation we must take.
Well, because I reflect back even when I was a kid. What kid didn't want to be in there with mom and be the first one to taste the pie or taste the cake or the dough that they're cooking, the batter.
Clean the pan out.
Most of us got beat upside the head with those big spoons because we were sticking our hands.
Running in.
Running in. Look at Jarvis laughing at that.
That's Italian too.
That's the engineer laughing at that. And because it was something about being in the kitchen with mom and grandmom, and they had to make us leave the kitchen and stuff.
It was magic.
Isn't that right, John?
It was the magic and the art of cooking.
Yes.
Because as a child, you knew you may have gone shopping with your mother and you saw eggs, which really look pretty nasty if you break them open. But what came out, you could make a cake out of eggs and flour. It's like, how can you do that?
It was a lab. That's the first lab there.
Pure alchemy. It's pure alchemy in the kitchen.
Yes. And when you see all the things, I remember my mother, just looking at cakes. We only had cake once a week on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it might be a pound cake. She might add a little lemon, and it'd be a lemon cake. She might do coconut and add on that. And every time she did something different, I was like, wow, look at that. And then she'd always show, it's a basic recipe. So I started cooking like when I was 6.
See that's the thing. It's like the little kid. This brings out the little kid.
Yes.
Because the little boy Larry, that was the bad little knucklehead. I would love to sneak in the minute Mama turned her head or whatever, and dip my finger in something, the cake or pie, and so it was a lot. It really
and to
was.
help fix.
And yes,
because to have the responsibility and the joy of chopping up the apples to go in an apple pie, and then you could say, I helped make that.
Yes.
And every child I know smile when they help to make a pie or cookies, chocolate chip cookies. You remember the first time you ever
look at
helped
Jarvis.
to make those?
You
could chop the nuts or put the chocolate chips in, and then they came out, and you said, I helped to make this.
It's so funny because me as a little boy and going in the kitchen, and I wanted to be manly man, but the minute I saw that bowl with all of the chocolate and stuff, well, Mama, can I help you beat that and whip that, and you're fighting over who gets to lick the bowl and the whole thing.
But there again, for us also there was the thing is the cutting. The knife.
Yes.
My brother was 7 years old, and he could carve. So that's where my grandmother taught him to carve. It was like, I cut it. It was like he felt so proud.
Yes.
So proud that he was able to cut that chicken and not break it all apart and make it all nice. And it was like,
I wish you guys could see Jarvis, the engineer here. He's just going back to memory lane. Jarvis, I know they can't see you, but they can hear you. Were you one of those little bad kids in the kitchen?
Yeah, I was. They had to make me get out. because I had a sweet tooth, so I always was trying to stick my finger into something or do something. So it's bringing back great memories.
Yeah. So now you being a little girl that was in the kitchen that got you to this point. Tell us about that little girl.
Oh, that little girl was so enamored. My dad would come home and I would have made something for him, and a frittata, which is a scrambled egg, okay? And he was just like very stern man, very hard. And the only moment that I could really get a smile or a sweet look would be when he would prepare something to him. So it's connected to.
Oh, wow.
So it's a love.
Yes,
that's why I
it's love.
say, when you cook for people, and all my life I've cooked for people. When I was a clothes designer, I cooked for people to launch my lines. When I was a director of international development, I cooked for people to launch my food lines. Food is a place where when you feed people, something changes. Your soul opens up in a different way, and so you can do great business. You can exchange great stories at a table. You can strategize great business because I don't know. I can't explain really why.
It kind of brings out the child, the kid, and all of us.
The enchantment of life.
It's funny you should say that. I remember one of the best meals I've ever had in my life is, I grew up in Mississippi. We were just dirt poor. I mean, just poor as all get out. And right now, I had lost my mom and single dad. And we had an auntie that was very poor, that had lost her husband, and she had 4 kids. And so we stayed at her house on the weekend too long. Daddy was supposed to come get us. He ran out of food, way, way, way out in the country. And I saw the sadness on her face that morning because I'm the oldest one. I saw her go in the kitchen, and I could see the sadness in Aunt Ruth's face. And we didn't realize we was poor. I really didn't.
How beautiful.
And she fixed the most simplest meal I had ever eaten. And I tell you, it was the greatest meal I ever had because when she saw us having so much fun with that simple meal, her face lit up. For that moment, she didn't feed us a poor person's meal. She fed her family, and I never will forget that.
Love. Again, it's love. It's love. Again. And
You
this
can't
is a
get
memory that
past
you
that
have.
word,
No.
yes.
And that's why, again, food is love, and we got to feed our kids because it's important. It really, really is, and it's...
Well, it's so interesting that when we really look at what you're saying underneath all of that, the children that are growing up today, we wonder why they're not more connected and more respectful and paying attention to things. And it really, what I'm feeling is that by not paying attention to them,
Exactly.
through food, and I hadn't even really looked at it from that standpoint.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That there is a unique magic in connecting with children through food, in the preparation and in the nourishment, and there's a bonding that happens.
Yes.
That they then can reflect back to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
absolutely
very beautifully put. Beautifully
And
put.
I had not looked at that, how the food could make a difference. But, just in the stories that we just said, I have been back in the kitchen. I can see myself back in the kitchen with my mom preparing food.
I give you a metaphor here. You just said something, the two of you just said something about the connection of food and the kids and the children with their families and friends that branches out into their social skills as well. Am I correct?
Yes.
Because, I'm an animal fanatic. I name the beast and I can tell you a little bit about his behavior. And when I look at the predator world, where it's the lion or the wolves or whatever, they attack a carcass, they rip it apart, and they go off to their separate corners and their separate areas to eat that chunk of meat by themselves. When you look at the way we are feeding our children in the homes today, we'll go out and get the McDonald's or get the hamburger. They're in little separate packages, a little separate box, and then everybody go off into their separate corners today. No connection, no communication. And then they got the iPhone and the iPad and the rest of the technology in here. And here, there goes the story of the breakdown. Even with, I'm seeing food being part of the breakdown in our social networking.
I'm going to add something to it, though, because
Please.
I've been watching some of those shows. The mother who goes on the hunt, the mother lion, is, if they have cubs, they are teaching the cubs how to hunt.
Yes.
So
This is true.
this becomes an exercise for them, and they may go get it. They don't go by themselves when they go eat. They go and give it to. They share it. With the children.
and the whole metaphor there is with sitting down socializing with children. You can tell them how going to work brought food to the table. You can explain to them how much it costs. You can explain to them what it takes to keep your refrigerator full of
Also to grow your own food.
or to grow your own food.
Yes,
A
it's
great
you know,
example.
and-
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, great.
Yeah, and I personally, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think also food is sacred. Okay,
Yes. That's the word right there.
Food is sacred. It's
sacred,
God
yes.
given. So I do agree with Reverend Caroline. Absolutely, that bonding that you get in with food, because it's caring for, and again,
Yes.
it's sharing, learning how to share. A cake, the pieces must be pretty much the same, and everybody around the table, especially the young ones, that's where they learn how to be generous and how to understand how to be able to divide things with each other, and how to understand how one of the family might like something better. So you're teaching love again, and
You
I remember
guys are using this word love a lot
I was
today.
little, and I used to
I'm
like
just
only
kidding.
wings. I like only wings, okay, of the chicken. Now I eat all of it. But I remember this. I remember my brother and sister saying, let's leave him to Anina. My brother would leave me the wing because he knew that was my favorite part. My sister, she would eat the leg because even though she liked it, but she knew. So again, it's love, it's sharing, it's
Yes.
bonding, it's fighting over something
And
because
fight-
you want
yes.
it more. But it's when you argue in a family and then you make peace.
Yes.
It's even better.
It's actually
it's
building
life.
social skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny you should say that
And
when
it
we were coming up.
starts at home.
Yes.
In
starts at
my
home.
family, and you weren't allowed. You felt embarrassed to be the one that got the last piece off the table.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was something
so
about.
true.
You experienced
in our
that?
house too. And the tray would be last piece of cake. Everybody would wait.
Yes.
It was like,
Yes.
okay.
Well, that wasn't my family. My brother would always take it, and then we'd be mad with him. But we would all stand back and say, "Oh, we didn't necessarily want that." And the other thing, you all are making me think about these things, is we have so much food now that the last bite is never the last bite.
That is so true. I hadn't thought of that.
Somebody and when I grew up, when meal was over, it was over.
Yeah.
There was no more food. And you didn't go into the cabinets
Oh no.
to go get anything.
And
And that's a whole nother. I hadn't thought about that either. Is that now it's ongoing. You got seconds and
that's why we're all
have
sick.
dessert
We cannot
and
eat.
fat. Yes.
I think my father had a refrigerator radar. I mean, he could be down the hallway, wherever.
Yes.
If he could hear that refrigerator. Which one? No, they didn't have to ask which one. Larry,
Yes.
yeah, that you? Yeah, I'm just getting some water. Sure, buddy, get out of there. But no, that is this is much. This is a lot of fun. I am so glad you came in.
Thank you.
And see, we're having a meal right here today.
We
We're
are,
socializing,
yes.
having a spiritual meal. And I really look, when Jarvis get to laughing over here, and the engineer, he normally stays out.
Yes.
See, food is love, connection. We talk about food. Talk about memories. It's so important.
What is your favorite food to cook?
Oh dear. my last one that I do, in the sense that I invent food. And so I want to do, the other day I was at home and I wanted a plate of spaghetti. So I opened the fridge. I didn't have any tomatoes, but I had some great basil, a little bit of butter. I said, how am I going to... And so I just invented this, and it came out so light and yummy. A little bit of Parmesan cheese, and it was actually raw. So... My favorite. Food, all of food, all of it, every single little tiny bit. Savories, sweets, hot, raw,
So now-
ice cold, hot, everything.
See now, I talked with her. She doesn't have a website up yet, and
Yes, I do have a
Yeah,
oh yeah,
there's
the
a web-
website.
there's a website.
Because you know people gonna get to saying like, okay, well, what does the food taste like?
And there are pictures on the website
Oh,
too.
what is the website?
It's www.chefanin, CHEFANIN 4.wix, wix.com/chef Anina.
Now you got to do that one more time.
Let's do it again. CHEFANI 4.wix.com/chef Anina, ANINA. Hopefully that's good enough.
Yes.
Or else you can find me also on
because
Facebook.
I love your passion.
Yeah, if you put Chef Anina in Facebook, she'll pop up, and then her website will show up also.
You see a lot of foods there. I'm seasonal organic. Seasonal in the sense that when you go buy shop food seasonal, man, you save a bunch of money. You eat the best food for you. The most protein, most calciums, most proteins, most minerals, because it's the food of the season. We're in California, so we get 2 crops a year. Okay? We're lucky because of the season. But if you're out in Michigan, you cannot eat watermelon in December. It does not work that way. Or tomatoes all year. It's not, Yes, you can have one in a salad because it's not going to poison you. I'm saying that. But if you... Now, for example, is the seasons of walnuts, and you have it's the moment. There's got squash, you've got cauliflower, you have all the kales, you've got the fennels. So now it's a time to eat those foods.
Okay, well, with the time, I can't believe how quick the time has gone by here. And we're gonna how much time we have? 3 minutes. Oh my goodness! Because my favorite, I watch Andrew Zimmerman, the Bizarre Food Chef, and Anthony Bourdain. And I'm a bizarre food eater because when I traveled, all the world traveling I've done, I'm a food taster. So I've eaten everything from zebra to alligator in a whole bit. So I'm a food taster. Anyway, since we have come to the end of the show, this went by so fast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
In closing, what we like to do, Chef Anina, am I pronouncing it right?
That's perfect. Which means little Anna. And that's what that's why Chef Anina. The story is, I used to love to eat, still to this day. I'm skinny, I'm not fat, but I used to love to eat, and I sit there and eat and eat and eat. And so my dad would say, Anina, and I would say, mangiano, which was a wrong way to say mangiare, to eat. So it's Anina.
Okay, well, Annette, give us some words of wisdom real quick. At the end of the show, give us words of wisdom to the crowd to say goodbye.
Cook for your family this holidays, but do it often during the week, please. Shop local, please, because it makes all our farmers grow more food and healthier. Feed the people.
That's
please.
Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you,
Carolyn,
thank you.
You want to say something?
Well, I love the fact that we talked about love coming from the heart, from the food that we cook, and from the conversation that comes from us gathering around a kitchen or a table. So I wish all of our listeners happy holidays and happy gatherings.
Real quick, I tell everybody, be careful. Watch what you read. Watch what you watch on TV. Watch what you listen to. watch what you put in your body, both spiritually, mentally, and physically. And I think we can all come to a better understanding of who we are and become just a little bit more peaceful and social behind it. Anyway, happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends. Merry Christmas to my Christian friends. And just world at peace. That's what we need. Hey, remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. This is Larry Yates. Poop. I'm out.
California.